We are going to jump into a new program today, which will leave some of us excited and others of us slightly anxious, perhaps even stressed out. But some of us have even used this program. It's called Reason. I think it's kind of funny that the two programs we use for audio are called Logic and Reason. I'm going to click on Go. I'm going to click on Applications. I actually happen to remember this shortcut, Command-Shift-A, just because that's kind of a quick way to pop you into your computer, get you jumping around. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the letter R, and that pops me right down to the programs that start with the letter R. I didn't type in a search box. I'm just trying to teach you how to navigate your computer a little bit faster. Command down arrow will pop open that folder, Command down arrow, and then I hit the down arrow a couple more times, and I hit Command down arrow to open Reason. You are going to click Run with Multi-License. If for some reason this does not work, and that's very likely, then come see me. Let's see if we can get it figured out. Let's take a little look around the Reason interface. I said this could make some of us a little bit anxious, a little bit stressed. That's okay. For as long as this program, Digital Media Technology, exists, we are going to use Reason because it's a great way for all of us to understand some of the nuts and bolts of actual hardware without having to own all of this equipment that we're going to use in here. Let's take a look at the interface. First of all, you have the browser. This is where we're going to go and find different instruments and different hardware modeling type devices that we can use, whether they're sound generating like synthesizers or loop players, or whether they're effects like echo and reverb, distortion, vocoder, so on and so forth, or other things like utilities where we can combine sounds together or we can arpeggiate a synthesizer that we have. So this is the browser. Check out in the upper left-hand corner of each area of the interface, and you'll see as you hover your mouse a little circle that will show and hide whichever area you click on. Also, as you hover your mouse, you'll see the keyboard shortcut, F3. Now I have a little keyboard, so I have to hit the function key and get that to open up with function and F3. The other thing to note as you work your way around through the different areas is there's a little arrow on the outside. If it came down to it, we were done with our arrangement and we were ready to do some mixing, we would hit the little button that pops the mixer open, and you can see the mixer would pop open. And then you would hit the X button that gets you right back to your multi-view, and then you would close that. I'm going to hover my mouse for just a second, and I'm going to see that this, well, it doesn't actually tell me the shortcut there, but the mixer is F5, and I have to hit the function key on my keyboard. And the rack will come and go with F6, and then the sequencer will show and hide with F7. Okay, so you're taking up the full screen there with the sequencer. This is the tool window. The most important thing that we're going to use in this tool window probably is this quantize control, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means later on. So for now, I'm just going to close the tool window. Many of these things are familiar. The mixer we've seen in Logic. The sequencer represents an area similar to the arrange window in Logic Pro 10. And the thing that's really new, the thing that sets Reason apart from some other programs, is this rack unit. So I want to look at the rack unit for just a second because there's some cool things that we can get into later on. So the number one shortcut you need to know about the rack unit, and this is something I'm going to show you now and then we'll get more into it later, but this is kind of what makes Reason super cool. Let me close that sequencer. Is when you hit the tab key, ready? It turns you around to the back of the rack mount unit. So from here we can do all of this wiring. We can take wires, we can pick them up, we can drop them. It's gone. Command Z to undo. We can take things, we can route them a little bit differently. Command Z to undo. If I take this and unplug it, guess what? I'm never going to hear anything out of Reason. So I could build the most awesome music in the sequencer and I will never hear it because I just unplugged my master control. So I'm going to undo that. So this is the back of the Reason rack. You hit tab to see that, and just know that we are going to be using some of these controls back here, dragging some cables and doing some basic routing because hey, there's no other way that we can get 24 mixing boards and 24 effects units with all the cables right in front of every student in this class. That's a quick look at the Reason interface. Next, you're going to head into a very basic introductory tutorial that you'll find in the next quest.